next. So the first in a new part of the programme where you get to put your questions to our experts on a range of current topics. It's called Ask ITV News. And tonight, following those chaotic scenes at Dover you saw earlier, our consumer editor Chris Choi is answering your queries about travel. Now, many of you are worried about how your summer holidays could be affected, and some of you have sent us your questions already. So first of all, let's hear from Tony in Birmingham.
I work in freight. With all the delays we're seeing in Dover today, I was just wondering how much an effect Brexit was having on those queues.
Well, Tony, the blame game is well and truly underway already. The Port of Dover is saying it's all the fault of the French authorities for what they describe as woefully inadequate border staffing. Interestingly, the French themselves are kind of blaming Brexit for this because, of course, we've changed our status with the EU. What is for sure is that things have changed on the border. For one thing, your passport has to be stamped now. There are new IT systems, new checks. If you imagine that it takes about 30 seconds extra per passenger, you can see how a big backlog can very quickly build up.
For sure. OK, well, now let's go to Aaliyah in Bristol.
What are the limits of compensation an airline is obliged to honour when they cancel your flight without notice and you've already arrived at the airport?
Well, thanks, Aaliyah. Taking us right to the heart of what is the scourge of the summer, these last-minute cancellations. It's very simple. You are entitled to a full refund or another flight. If you're stuck at the airport for more than 2 hours, you're entitled to help, and that does include overnight accommodation at a hotel if necessary. There's a whole sliding scale of compensation. For long-haul flights, for example, it goes all the way up to £520 per passenger, so worth knowing your rights.
Oh, definitely. OK, well, let's get another question now. This is from Jamie in Greenwich.
Today is 14 days since I came back from a work trip to Scotland to not have my bag returned with me. Am I due any compensation for this inconvenience of time, considering I've now had to deal without having work tools and equipment which was in my baggage?
Poor Jamie. I mean, we've all had frustrations at baggage reclaim, haven't we? But 2 weeks, that's rather extreme. Your first thought probably is blame the airport. Actually, the responsibility for this lies with the airline, and there is a compensation framework going all the way up to £1,000. But the authorities warn that very few people get a payout on that magnitude. And also when it comes to what's known as consequential losses, for example, if he loses work because he hasn't got his tools or anything like that, it's very rare for airlines to pay out unless you have a court order. But we did talk to Jamie's airline, which is BA. They say they're still trying to find the bag. There is still some hope, and they apologise for the delay.
OK, another question, Chris. This one is from Sunny Joe from Sheffield.
I'm on holiday in Lanzarote at the moment. What sort of issues or delays can I expect coming back to the UK?
Well, good to have a question from exotic Lanzarote, isn't it? All being well, no problems, because what the industry has done is cancel in advance wherever possible, but there are still big staff shortages, so there may be unexpected problems. The big thing here is to make sure the airline has your contact details, text, email. They will update you on service changes.
I've got time now for some quick-fire questions for you, Chris. Now, this one's from Tom in Newcastle, who asks, how busy will the motorways be this summer?
Very busy. Remember, we've got the train strikes, which will probably push more traffic onto the motorways. We've got these petrol price protests. Some have gone on today. And for the third year in a row, this is going to be a time when a lot of people holiday closer to home. So things will be busy. Stay in touch with the latest traffic news.
Rachel in Suffolk asked, how big a concern will COVID be while holidaying this summer?
It still is for a lot of countries. Getting in through the borders, and also when you're there are all kinds of restrictions. The best thing is to look at the Foreign and Commonwealth Office website before you travel.
And finally, Amanda in Devon asks, with the cost of living crisis on the rise in the UK, will I be paying more for things abroad too this summer?
Unfortunately, yes, because these inflationary pressures we're hearing all about at home are largely international, so prices have gone up. And I know there'll be a lot of people watching now thinking they can't afford holiday this year. And anybody that has holiday plans is lucky because of the cost of living crisis. And let's just spare a thought as well for the thousands of travel workers struggling to get us away. None of these problems are their fault. Treat them with kindness and respect.
definitely, Chris. Look, lots of questions, lots of great info there as well. Thank you.